We've already discussed how, prior to Nosferatu, vampires weren't nearly as susceptible to sunlight. Well, today's Dracula just happens to be an actor who is famous for his deep, deep bronze tan. Born in 1939 in Memphis, Tennessee, George Stevens Hamilton was the middle child of 3 boys. He was the son of Ann Stevens and bandleader George Spike Hamilton. Hamilton's early family life was tumultuous, with 2 stepfathers and a stepmother joining into the mix. He frequently toured with his father's band when he was a child, and while attending Palm Beach High School, he started acting in school plays. Bitten by the performing bug, he made the decision in the late 1950s to move to Los Angeles and pursue an acting career. He quickly caught the attention of MGM, where they saw his potential to be the next great romantic lead. His first lead role in 1959's Crime and Punishment USA was not a financial success, but it won him awards as a promising newcomer and established him as a star on the rise. His early career was characterized by serious roles in which he displayed considerable acting chops and a public image in the tabloids as the latest arm candy for the rich, famous, and beautiful. He would find himself at the center of controversy in the late 1960s after he received a 3A deferral from the draft on the grounds that he was the sole financial provider for his mother. The media raised doubts over the validity of this deferral, given that Hamilton was dating the daughter of President Lyndon Johnson at the time. By 1969, his film career seemed to have slowed down, and Hamilton made the move on to television, where he quickly became a favored guest star and a made-for-TV movie name. He took on the additional role of producer starting in 1971, hoping to gain greater control of his career. In one of his first productions, he played the lead role in a biopic of Evel Knievel, with a screenplay by John Milius. Hamilton's film career saw a brief boost in 1979 following the release of Love at First Bite, but film roles did not last long after the release of his less successful follow-up, Zorro the Gay Blade. He worked in television steadily through the 1980s and enjoyed a film revival with roles throughout the 1990s. He became one of only 5 actors to double up on guest appearances in Columbo, and appeared as the Corleone family lawyer in The Godfather Part 3. Hamilton started out the early 2000s with a turn on Broadway playing Billy Flynn in Chicago. He continues to enjoy a strong television career, including several high-profile reality television appearances and an ad campaign for KFC. He has a reputation for being an open and gregarious star, saying once, "I've never turned down an autograph request. I've never not taken a picture with someone."
The wolf is a very misunderstood creature. He never kills for sport, only what is needed. And he always protects the young and the wounded.
One of George Hamilton's successes as a producer/star is 1979's Love at First Bite, which, as I mentioned earlier, helped give his film career a brief boost at a time when he was largely thought of as a television star. Screenwriter Robert Kaufman, whose early career highlights include writing comedy for Dick Shawn, came up with the idea for the movie after attending a party where George Hamilton entertained guests poolside with his impression of Bela Lugosi. The impromptu party act got Kaufman thinking about Dracula experiencing modern New York City, and he started work on the script with George Hamilton in mind for the lead role. Kaufman's acquaintance, Peter Sellers, connected him with director Stan Dragotti, and the movie went into production with a budget of $3 million. It turned into a surprise hit, earning almost its entire budget back in its first week of release and ranking as the 13th top-grossing movie of the year, and the second highest earner for distribution company American International Pictures. It earned Hamilton and Artie Johnson Saturn Awards for their performances, as well as a Saturn for William J. Tuttle for the film's makeup. Aside from that, however, critical response was mixed. Many praised Hamilton's performance, but frequently the movie was criticized for dated comedy and uneven pacing. Gene Siskel was one of the movie's biggest detractors, writing that Hamilton's role was a smug performance in a film full of tired jokes and some of the most cruel racial stereotyping you'll ever see. And I gotta say, Siskel was right. I mean, Hamilton's Dracula is fun to watch. It's definitely the highlight of the movie. It's based first and foremost on his impression of Bela Lugosi, and that's at the core of everything he does in the role. In fact, the impression of Bela Lugosi being so upfront is probably the weakest part of his characterization for Dracula.
Hi.
Hi.
I got us some champagne and a little Maui Wowie, really heavy shit.
I do not drink wine.
Oh.
And I do not smoke shit.
Because ultimately, it isn't Lugosi's Dracula that he's playing. Hamilton injected a little bit of himself into it. In interviews, Hamilton has described himself as a shy human being and kind of like a relic from another era. And those characterizations of himself permeate his performance as Dracula. He's a man out of time trying to navigate a new world after being evicted from his castle by the Soviet government and looking for someone he can share a quiet, eternal private life with. His performance is fun. The real problem with the movie is that this brave new world that Dracula enters is one that is peppered with casual racism, sexism, and homophobia, and even a little bit of anti-Semitism. And when you combine that world and all of its regressiveness with Dracula and his intended bride's yearning for the old days, it can feel like this movie is trying to say that the problem with this hurtful society full of prejudice is that it's just too darned accepting.
How would you like to dine on nothing but a warm, liquid, protein diet while all around you people are eating lamb chops, potato chips, malamats, chivas regal on the rocks with the twist?
The copyright for Love at First Bite belonged to Melvin Simon Productions until 1992, when Hamilton personally purchased the film. At that time, The Hollywood Reporter said that Hamilton was hoping to produce and star in a sequel entitled Love at Second Bite, and was also interested in creating a Broadway show based on the original film. I have some ideas. George Hamilton, call me. In 2009, Hamilton told an interviewer that he wanted the sequel to mash up his fish-out-of-water Dracula with teenage vampires in the style of Twilight. And in 2014, he was describing a story in which Dracula comes to Hollywood for his son's wedding to a zoologist and has to bring along all of their relatives. As of this filming, no studio has announced production of the sequel. What do you think of George Hamilton's performance in Love at First Bite? Drop down in the comments, let me know. While you're down there, click that like and subscribe button. Maybe hit the share button if you have a friend you think might enjoy this video. Or maybe you have an enemy you think will be absolutely tortured by this video. Heck, you can share it with them too. Until next time, I remain Glenn Williams, and I also remain the Film Optimist, reminding you to watch like it means something.